Hey guys, my name is Jason DeLeon, and if you're watching this video, then your practitioner is wanting you to have an EBOO procedure done. So let's dive into this whole process, and I'll do my best to help you better understand what all is involved with EBOO. A quick overview on myself: I have Lone Star Regenerative Solutions, where I train EBOO. I train medical professionals on how to do EBOO for a living. So during that time, I've worked in cancer specialty clinics all the way to elite athlete performance centers. And then the last bullet point on this slide is extremely relevant to you. I personally have had 27 EBOO procedures done as of the midpoint of 2025. So I feel like I can give you a really good understanding of what this whole process is. So what is your practitioner trying to accomplish in your body by you doing an EBOO? I'd remember these three things: improve mitochondrial function, reduce systemic inflammation, and balance out your immune system. Who could benefit from those three things? I will say this as well, that beautiful things are possible in the body when we target it at the cellular level. And that's exactly what we're doing with EBOO. So the acronym stands for Extracorporeal Blood Oxygenation and Ozonation. We're going to need two different IV lines. So one is going to be started in one arm and then one in the other. We're going to draw blood from you. That is your red line. And then it's going to return back into you through the blue line. It's about an hour chair time, 50-minute approximately procedure time. During that whole process, we'll treat 2 liters of your blood. There will be some waste products present, and I'll explain that a little bit further as well. And we're going to be monitoring your blood sugar throughout the process. Ozone and ultraviolet light are known to drop blood sugar. So because of that, we're going to be extremely, I'd say, nosy about what you ate that morning or that afternoon before your procedure. But ultimately, your blood is going to be exposed to oxygen, ozone, and ultraviolet light. Here's a couple of slides that show you what the procedure looks like in just a visual concept. So you see two different guys there where their arms are kind of kicked out, and there's two different IV lines started. We're drawing blood from them. It's running through the tubing, through UV light, and then back to them. But as you can see, it's a little bit of a kickback session, just kind of hanging out there with your arms out. Another just visuals here so you can see it's not like it's some super invasive process. It's pretty much just a relaxing session where you get to talk with us and so on. So let's get into what makes EBOO special. And when I say special, I'm comparing it to other ozone IVs out there. That's my baseline. In a normal ozone IV, we have one IV line started from you where we draw blood from you. We set it aside, we ozonate it, and we give it back. Some of those involve ultraviolet light, some do not. But during that process, we only have one single diffusion point. Whereas with EBOO, you can see this picture here of an EBOO diffuser. It's a dialysis filter, but in the EBOO world, we flip it with blue side up and we run ozone into thousands of little straws, for a lack of a better description there. Every single one of those straws in that cylinder is perforated, where ozone is coming out and coming in contact with your blood. So it's a much greater efficiency at combining ozone and oxygen into your blood than we normally have with your traditional ozone IVs. We are also exposing your blood to a much lower concentration of ozone, which equals a much lower oxidative stress. That's a great thing. But at the end of the day, we're treating a greater surface area, and just it's an all around much more efficient process of combining oxygen and ozone into your blood. There will be these waste products that are very exclusive to EBOO, or very visual, let me say that, to this whole EBOO process. And you can see that picture there on the side. It does have the consistency of like urine. So very foamy. That foam will actually dissipate. It's kind of like dish soap, for just to get a quick visual there. That fluid at the bottom can be yellow. More often than not, it's like a clear or plasma colored. What we know that's in the cup for sure is platelet aggregates, broken down proteins, uric acid, urea. There's still a lot of, I'd say, debate as to what's in the cup. So definitely check with your practitioner to get a better perspective there, or maybe they have a much more updated study on what all's going into that cup. Let's dive into preparation. So this is the biggest thing right here. You need to eat a high protein meal an hour before your procedure time. No protein shakes. So solid protein is what I mean. The reason why no protein shakes is because they just don't stick around as long as what, like, let's say steak and eggs would, something like that, where it's going to be solid protein. Your body's going to be able to tolerate this oxidative stress that we're putting it through much easier, as opposed to eating a banana or a protein shake, so to speak. The next one is we need you well hydrated. We're going to be starting 2 different IVs on you. And if you're hydrated, it makes our job so much easier. So no one likes to get stuck multiple times. So make sure you drink a lot of fluids the day before and ultimately the day of your procedure. Get a good night's sleep if possible. Understand, it says if possible. I know real life is very much a thing, and we all do our best there. No eat, no treat. What I mean by that is we can't have you come into the EBOO chair fasting. We really have to have you, to have eaten a really good meal before you do your procedure. So what can you expect during the actual procedure, meaning while this is running? There's many people that take a nap. It's oftentimes relaxing to them, as wild as that sounds. You might get cold because we're I'd say cooling down your blood just a little bit as it's coming back into you. So bring a blanket possibly, and then, or you might ask the staff to bring something for you to get covered while you're doing the procedure. You could feel hungry. Remember, I said we can drop your blood sugar. So if that's you, please make sure you let your technician know that you're feeling a little hungry or something's going on there, and we'll give you some juice or some type of snack to get you back to where you're feeling great again. Many patients feel energized during the procedure. That's not uncommon, or very clear-headed. And that leads me into the post-EBOO procedure as well. So these 3 things, and I'll expand on them and give you a much bigger explanation. But first is mental clarity or energy boost. The next one would be sleepy or fatigue. And then the third one is nothing at all. So let's dive into this mental clarity or energy boost. Your red blood cells are engorging themselves with oxygen because of this whole ozone process that's happening. So due to that, you can have this big, I'd say, mental clarity or energy boost. We are optimizing your NAD. So that's a great thing as well, ultimately producing ATP. And you can ask your practitioner about that whole process as well. But because of that, that's where we get this big energy boost or mental clarity. That's not uncommon. Sleepy or fatigue. If you remember in my opening, I told you that EBOO can balance out your immune system, meaning immune modulation. Well, I want you to think back whenever you've had the flu or you've been extremely sick. All you want to do is sleep and rest. Your body's intentionally trying to force you into the most reparative state that we have, which is sleep. So if that's you, or you feel sleepy or fatigued, I'd say go with the flow, go to bed early that night. Don't be surprised if you wake up feeling amazing in the morning. The last one is nothing. And while that seems impossible because this whole process looks like you are, turning into the next Marvel superhero, we are exposing your blood to a very low oxidative stress after all. So even though you don't feel nothing, there's multiple cellular processes that have kicked off because of the ozone and ultraviolet light. So your instructions post procedure here. Heparin is administered during this whole process, or some type of blood thinner. So unless you're like a ninja sword trader, then you're pretty much safe. And again, double check with your practitioner there to know the half-life on heparin and how long you need to refrain from any type of high-risk activities or cuts and so on. Avoid alcohol that evening, and avoid inflammatory foods. We are doing our very best to reduce your inflammation with doing an EBOO, so it'd be a little counterproductive to eat a whole bunch of sugar right after your EBOO. Drink lots of fluids. We are kicking off some detox, or opening up your detox pathways wide open. So because of that, you're going to want to drink lots of fluids. That will help you flush everything out that you need to. Ask your practitioner about ways to maximize your EBOO procedure. So I just mentioned your detox pathways will be wide open. So it'd be extremely beneficial to do like an infrared sauna or something like that. But your practitioner is going to know best here. Get them to expand on that, and they'll point you in the right direction. So in summary, you're going to need to eat a high protein meal, solid food. Remember that, an hour before you get in the chair. Drink lots of water and start hydrating a day before. You might want to bring headphones if blood isn't your thing, or you're just trying to zone out and get into a nice Zen state. And then please communicate with your practitioner on what you feel, good, bad during the procedure. You're like, hey, I feel warm. I feel tired. Please let us know those kinds of things because we need that information as we're doing your procedure. As I mentioned, ask your practitioner on ways to maximize this. You'd be surprised which supplements or which therapies are optimized with doing an EBOO procedure. And then I want you to enjoy the experience of the ultimate way to do ozone, ultraviolet light, and oxygen.